My name is Vineet. I'm part of the Maryland group. Today, we're going to be having an education showcase and about how we can use grid computing to manage flood disaster. And unawareness into this particular area have taken us to make this particular project. Now, what is grid computing and how we can use it to manage flood disaster? Grid computing is nothing but integrating all the processes together to perform one particular task. And we're going to be using that when a flood comes. So that includes using satellites, using different kinds of technology to manage the resources when a flood comes. Now, the reason why we've chosen this is to provide a good insight on how grid computing can be used to manage when a flood comes. So this will give an insight to students on about how grid computing works as a supercomputer.
Flood is inevitable. You cannot prevent it. You cannot stop it from happening. What has happened happened and couldn't have happened any other way. The most obvious question is, what can we do about it? I'm not a pessimist, I'm an optimist. I believe the answer to that question is simple. We can manage it. Managing in the sense of coping and surviving with a difficult situation. Now, our main concern here is for victims to receive timely information about possible evacuation routes and to rescue those afflicted. Let me introduce viewers to an emerging technology known as grid computing. According to Professor Nick Bessis, he defined grid computing as, and I quote, "Grid computing is an emerging infrastructure capable of delivering dependable and uniform access to a set of globally distributed resources." Now, these resources could be hardware, software, or data. And that brings us to another question. How do we use grid to manage our situation? First and foremost, we must assume that sensors are placed across several riverbanks in different geographical locations. Now, these sensors constantly monitor water levels and collect data such as wind conditions and other atmospheric readings. Now, this data is received by a central server, which is stored in a relational database from where experts from different virtual organizations can have access to. And we must also assume that the current digital and wireless communication is able to track down precise location of victims. Now, this data is fed directly into the GPS or computers of the rescuers, which enables them to know the precise location of their victims. Finally, this method that I'm proposing has been implemented in several countries like Puerto Rico, US, UK, and Amsterdam. But we won't be showing the implementation in this video because it is not within the scope of this video. But I urge viewers to join us again in another video for the implementation. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.